It's so nice to be here with you this morning, Maestro. Thank you for the time and for jumping on to talk about the last repair shop.
Hello, I'm happy to be here with you.
Thanks so
Wonderful.
much.
So just curious, what were your first impressions of the film? What did it recall for you?
Well, first of all, I had no idea what it was. When my friend from USC, Katz, teacher at USC, linked me to you, and I had no idea. So he said, "Oh, you should watch it because you like music. You you might like the film." And actually, I try to do that when I have a movie on my list to watch. I try not to read any reviews or know anything about it. I like to be fresh, and like when you're in a festival, or you just receive a movie completely blank, and it's an experience, an adventure, and immediately I bonded with the characters, with these devoted persons who take care of with so much love of the instruments, which means that they take care of the musicians. And I guess that's the starting point. As I remember listening what they say, they obviously are music lovers and musicians lovers. They love, the job they do because they dedicate themselves to music somehow.
Mm. Are there any people in your life, in your early life, that really helped you stay committed to music at the early age? Starting at 5, I imagine that it also required a lot of additional support and guidance and mentors that were there to support you along the way. Yeah, did any of that come to mind in looking at these people that helped these young kids?
Definitely my parents, who were really pushing the three of us, my two older sisters and myself, to play, trying to play every day, which I would not always do, because I prefer going play soccer or whatever I was doing with my friends when I was 9 or 10 or 11, which was a bit bumpy because I started with piano, then trumpet, and then I got caught playing soccer instead of being at my trumpet lesson. And I started playing flute because, yes, there I met a teacher, which was really like a father figure, another father figure for me. He was very sweet, very calm, very patient, and he managed to, which is the hardest thing a teacher can do, to elevate the child, to bring him to a world of poetry, of softness, of tenderness with the instrument. And that's something very, very rare, actually, to have a teacher that really opens your not only your brain, but also your movements, your hands, your mouth to the instrument when you play, with a mouthpiece, for example. And that teacher, Max Poré, became my teacher for many years as a child. And then as I was thinking of becoming professional, I went to a higher kind of conservatory where he was also a teacher. So when he retired, I replaced him in the conservatory where he was teaching me. So it was really a relay, and that was really a very important person. But I had other teachers later, also as a flautist, who somewhere really relaxed and cool, somewhere really rough and tough. And the balance of all these teachers made me who I am. Somebody who's relaxed and cool, can be very demanding. And I picked from all these teachers about how to become a musician and a musician. Let's put it, not just a composer, a musician, somebody who understands, who loves music, and who respects musicians, who understands what it means as a discipline to be a musician.
I'm curious. John Williams is a graduate of Los Angeles.
Who's that?
John, Towner Williams. He's a graduate of our public school system. He graduated from North Hollywood High School and is probably like, you know, definitely the most famous graduate of our public school system and beneficiary of this repair shop. And I'm just curious, like, you know, I'm from Nova Scotia in Canada, you coming from France. What did you think about Los Angeles in terms of it being this epicenter of film musicianship? Is that something that lived in your imagination as a young musician and composer?
It came when in my teens. Well, and my subconscious was very strong because my parents met in America and they studied there and you know in Berkeley. So they somehow kept a lost paradise in, you know, we could feel that as children that they had lost the paradise of California in the 50s, you know, not only America, but California, which was something very special. And they had records, they had artifacts, they had things that came from that era as we were kids. Some of them I still have. And when I really began to be a film buff and a movie music buff, I started fantasizing about the Hollywood scene of film music, because it's all these geniuses that went through, you know, from North to Herman to Chomkin or Newman. I mean, name them. There were so many fantastic composers. They were not only composing, but orchestrating and conducting, and I would see the photos and listen to the scores, watch movies again and again on video to understand what was the deal with the music. And then came the new Hollywood, you know, with Spielberg and Scorsese and all these great scores that I could listen to, and of course John Williams and Jerry Goldsmith, and so I was into that. I was really influenced and dreaming of being maybe. Was I dreaming consciously? I'm not sure, but some of my friends said that I did realize that I wanted to be a film composer in Hollywood, you know.
You know, so much of this movie is about how music is helping to repair these people's lives and was there in really difficult moments. And for me, playing piano from the time I was 4, I feel like the thing that actually made me stick with it and actually practice was the fact that it was therapy. It was like this emotional processing. Like, I was a jazz pianist, and so being able to improvise and express emotions was the reason why I stuck with it, because that was the only outlet I really had. I was curious for you, if you feel like as a young kid, music provided help with getting through life on a larger scale.
Listening to music and then playing music, it's two different things, even though they link, because they become interweaving. If you become a composer or a musician, listening to music becomes something that you can't get away from. It's just always there. I would spend hours when I was a kid when I was, you know, in my early teens, recording from my vinyls, making selections and making cassettes, like only ballads. I would take, of course, all the Coltrane's and Miles Davis, the Bill Evans, or even Coleman Hawkins, or all my jazz, beautiful pieces that I would love, and do a tape just of that. And I would go to sleep before going, you know, because the next day I would be in school, and I would play my cassette of my ballads before going to sleep. And my brain was, you know, damped with music. It was just, and the next day, maybe I was listening before I would go to sleep to another cassette I'd made from my vinyl of Debussy and Satie. So listening to music was crucial. But as you know, playing is another story. Not only it's a way of expressing your emotions, of sharing your emotions with your friends or your family, but it's also a physical effort. When you practice an instrument, you bloody sweat. It's hard. You know, if you play violin or or trumpet or flute, whatever it is, after 3, 4, 5 hours of playing, you're really physically training. Don't name the sousaphone, but or the drums, you know. And when you stop playing, which I did because I was composing, it's like it's like you're missing your drug. You miss it because you've lost this physical daily training that you had. So it's all these things: the physical training, the brain, the concentration, the focus, the desire of expressing your emotions, whatever they are, that are mixed together when you become a young to-be musician.
I'm curious. So, but piano, was that your first instrument?
It was, but I switched to cornet and trumpet. And because of being caught by one of my sisters being soccer, I switched to flute.
And were any of those instruments school instruments, or did you buy them? How did you come by your first instruments?
Well, piano, we had a piano at home, always, since we were very young. Flute, I remember the conservatory would lend them to us. So you could have a flute for, a couple of years without buying one. I do believe that learning, which means teaching music at a very early age to every kid in the world is crucial. It's not only crucial to find the best musicians on the planet. No, it's just that your brain is trained. I mean, the segment of the brain that is trained for music is very different from all the other segments of the brain. And learning music, learning how to read the notes, for example, which is much more simple than to read words, or letters. There's only a few notes on little balls on a line. It's easy. It's a game that every kid in kindergarten should do, should be taught to do, and analyzing the sounds, the range of instruments, the sound, playing. It's so much fun that it should be taught. That's number one. Second, playing music means making friends, bonding with other people of any age, younger, older. Could it be a grandfather to a child, and they can play together? When I was 12, 13, I was playing flute. I would play in a band, in my little town here in Paris, just outside of Paris, and every Saturday or Sunday, we'd be all together. There would be some professionals, some amateurs, and we would play, any kind of repertoire. It was a mix and match of instruments, clarinets, trumpets, one violin, one cello, whatever it was. But we would play together. And as a child, it was so exciting to hear this bunch of instruments get together. Also later in my life, there's this tradition in the Beaux-Arts school here, the arts school in the center of Paris, of having brass bands. And I started playing with them. I played sousaphone, and man, the roaring sound of a brass band, of 25 or 30 or plus, blowing in the brass instruments. It's amazing. It's fabulous. And I learned a lot there as a composer of, how to appreciate the dynamics, the way the sound sometimes vibrate in your ear, the energy that it requires, and the fun of it. Come on, the fun of being together and to play an instrument, and starting with very easy pieces to play, and then understanding that virtuosity can slowly but surely come in under your hands could it be the piano, could it be your singing, whatever it is, and sharing that virtuosity with other musicians. That's a very important thing, I think, to dispatch and spread.
Mhm.
These devoted people who are working in this shop, they understand that an instrument is like, in French we say, an objet transitionnel, which is the transition between the parents and the kid, which keep the kid in confidence. You know, he still has a link between the parents and himself by this little toy or this little teddy bear, whatever it is. And an instrument becomes that. It's this transitional object, but it's also another arm, another leg, another mouth. It's another part of yourself that grows and that belongs to you. I love what the little girl says about her violin at the beginning of the film. Without the violin, she can't live. It's like a piece of her. It's become a piece of her. And that's what an instrument becomes when you really get into that. You can't live without your instrument. So the devotion of these people in that shop who repair the instruments is fabulous, because they keep this link for these kids with the instrument, and which is a part of themselves, which has become a part of themselves. And it's fun because I was mentioning the instrument that I played myself as a child. When you find your instrument, when you find the instrument that belongs to you, because there's an ergonomy to the instrument, you know, it belongs to your hands. Give me a violin, I can't play. I can't. I'm unable to be. I feel uneasy. I don't feel confident with the violin. Give me a cello, maybe I could learn the cello. And you see, that's a journey that we should learn as kids, to try different instruments. Should I have a flute? That just, you know, some kids, I was teaching flute, and some kids, they come, you put a flute here, the sound comes right away. Some, after a year, they can't even have a good sound. And you give them a clarinet, boom, it works. So, as I say, it's very intimate. And this intimate relationship between an instrument and a musician, the repair shop understands that. They understand that if they don't give to the young musician a perfect instrument to express themselves and to enjoy the hard discipline that it is to practice an instrument, well, they'll be missing something. So they're fabulous, generous people. I love these people.
Yeah, our end credit sequence was a lot of fun, getting this multi-generational orchestra together. These kids from 9 or 10 to people in their 60s playing in the same group. I was wondering if you've seen anything like that before.
As I told you, as a kid, I played in a band in a band that was like that. I might have been the youngest of I was 12 or 13, and there were guys who were 60 and playing saxophone with too much vibrato, you know, like, I was thinking, oh, is there so much vibrato? I mean, even Johnny Hodges was not giving so much vibrato on his alto sax. But it was nice to learn the sound of the instruments, and and just share the moment of playing together. Music is not a matter of age, and that's the great thing about music. You can play, compose until you're very, very old. We know some composers who are great pianists who are 90 now, to go back to our introduction to JW. I mean, he's bloody genius. He plays piano like every day and composes like like Bach, like it's flowing like a river. And that's the beautiful thing about music. You can play from 3 years old to the end of your life.
Wonderful.
Yep. And to come back to what you said about the loss of all these repair shops in America, I think what you call in your movie The Last Repair Shop is actually the last repair shop of that era, but there should be many, many, many others now opening all around, you know, not only the US, but in the world, because it cannot be the last repair shop. It's impossible. It has to be the last repair shop for the time being, but there will be many others, I'm sure.
Well, thank you so much, Alexandre. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and an honor to know that the movie made an impression on you, and you're an inspiration to both of us. So thank you.
I'm with you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
All right.
Good luck. Ciao.
Bonsoir.
Toi toi, as we say. Ciao.